Hey everyone, and welcome back to The Advisor. Welcome to chapter 3 of Mike Wood's podcast to book series. So, if you've been following along, you know that Mike's story is one of very deep transformation from building $100 million company to rebuilding himself from the inside out. So, chapter 1, we explored the roots of his journey and the power of facing fear. In chapter 2, we stepped into the present moment as a gift, learning that peace isn't something we chase, it's something we access right here, right now. And today we get to go even deeper. We're going into the quiet space behind our thoughts, the place where awareness lives. This chapter is called The Witness Within. So Mike unpacks one of the most freeing truths of all. You are not your thoughts. You are the one who notices them. You are the calm sky behind the passing clouds. So we're going to explore in this episode what it means to live from that awareness. And Mike is going to teach us some things on how to look at our thoughts differently, how to find the gap between thinking and being, how to build the muscle of observation, and how freedom begins the moment you stop believing every thought that crosses your mind. So let's step into the space between and meet the witness within. Pumped for this episode. Pumped. How you doing, Mike?
I'm doing great. What a great intro. You got it down like that. That was amazing.
You're amazing. I'm so excited for this episode. People who don't know, Mike and I had about a 40-minute conversation before we hit record, speaking of just this topic on our thoughts. And I had a bit of a breakdown, and you literally walked me through some of the things we're going to cover today.
Yeah, yeah. Taking control of our thoughts is such a powerful thing to gain control. That's what we all want is to take control of our lives, but our thoughts just relentlessly drive us here, there, everywhere, and most of the time to misery. To depression or anxiety, and it's all driven based off the content of our thoughts. So we the goal is to take control, and taking control of your thoughts by realizing that you are not your thoughts, you are the witness of them, and being able to sit in that seat, the quiet one, the one behind the thoughts, the one that's actually witnessing these thoughts, not engaging with them. That's a powerful place. And from that place, now we could dull the thoughts. We could process them and change them. We don't have to accept a negative thought comes in our head. We can have the distance between the thought and our and and the true self, and we could rearrange those thoughts. We could reframe them with positivity and compassion, and then from there, the, the chemicals in our brain shift out of cortisol, out of a fear-based cortisol drug that will make us sick and keep us on the reel of the same thoughts, and shift us over into oxytocin that's going to make us feel drug induced happy. And that's all based off of being able to take control of our thoughts. But we can't do it when we're fully engaged with our thoughts. We have to get separation from them to be able to manage them.
Yeah, my God. And it's easier said than done, but I hear you have some tips or tricks that you're going to share with us later. I'm so excited for that. So, we are not our thoughts. What does that mean in simple terms?
We all have negative self-talk. So when we look in the
That's a
mirror,
fact.
if we look in the mirror and we say, "Oh, I am beautiful," most of us are going to feel like liars when we say it. You know,
Yeah.
when we go to attempt something, we're going to have insecurities about whether or not we're good enough to do this thing or that thing. And all of those thoughts are coming from somewhere, but it's not the true self. It's coming from old negative core beliefs. It could be coming from an attachment that we have that's being attacked. Forgiveness in some part of your life. Maybe we're living. You're doing the wrong job, and your true self is screaming at you, stop doing this, you need to be doing something else, and we're not listening. So those voices, that noise, most of it is coming from old negative core beliefs that were created when we were kids, but it can be coming from 4 or 5 different places, but it's none of it is real. None of it is real. It's all made up bullshit that is not real. These thoughts are coming from a place that is made up. It's regurgitated stuff from the past, and the subconscious mind holds on to negative things in a way that is trying to protect you. So it's trying to protect you by holding on to these negative things that happened to you in the past. And so it regurgitates them today to try to protect you from something like that happening again. And here come all the negative thoughts. Look out for this. Oh, you're not good enough. You weren't good enough then. You're not good enough now. And all that type of talk, it starts to spin in our heads, and it's relentless sometimes, you know. And
Mm.
when we can realize and it become a knowing that we're not our thoughts, and the subconscious mind can get programmed that these thoughts are not real. This is not us. All of a sudden, there becomes a bit of a separation between you and your thoughts, and those thoughts don't carry as much weight anymore. And now the system doesn't respond to those thoughts as much, and you don't break down as much, and you can take control of those thoughts and reframe them, and a whole world opens up to us when we can get separation between our thoughts and the witness, the true self.
Yes. So what is the witness and what is the true self and how is it different from the stream of thoughts that we experience every day? Like how can you tell?
So the true self is always calm. You know, the true self, if you're in true
Always.
self, always calm, and it's never afraid. It's never scared. You know, if you're
Mm.
sitting in a situation and you have anxiety or whatever, that's not the true
So the
self.
house is on fire and my true self is like, okay, we'll figure it out.
Well, the true self would just react. It would be in the
Mm.
present moment and you would just react. The true self without the ego, it would go, all right, how bad is this fire? Can I put it out? Do I just need to get all my things and get out of the house? Do I just need to grab the cat and get out? Or do I just
Yeah.
need to get out and hope the cat finds its own way out? Like the true
I'm
self
worried
would
about your
just
fish right now. I'm like, do you have time to get his fish out?
no. But yeah, the true self would just be in the present moment and
Yeah.
assess it and move. There wouldn't be any thinking. There wouldn't be any dialogue. You would just react. Um, the true self is not thinking about the future. It's not thinking. Period. The way that the thinking mind is supposed to work is, let's just say you do a lot of podcasts, and when you're getting prepared for a podcast, you dive into whatever that person is saying, and you have a routine, right? So you go through your routine. You're using your thinking mind to make sure you're prepped and ready for that show. That's what your mind is for. You have a problem in front of you, and you're supposed to think your way through it, develop a solution, a plan of action, and then okay, you act. But once you get done with that, it's time to put that tool on the shelf and just be. We
Mm.
shouldn't have to think anymore. Don't let that mind just continue on and try to figure the rest of the world out and what's going on and stuff happening tomorrow and the stuff that you don't care about, stuff you're not asking for. Now it's just time to be. Now it's just time to be present in the moment and let life go. Like riding down the river. You don't swim upstream. That's hard work. You just sit in the river and flow down the river. You know, you might
Yeah.
have to paddle every now and then to keep yourself flowing in the middle of the river, but for the most part, you just flow with life. That's how it's supposed to be lived. You just sit in the present moment and let it go. That's the true self. And when we live in the true self, when we live in from the witness seat, our heart opens up. Our heart chakra opens up. And I don't know if everybody understands that, but when you're in the present moment, you're living in a place of compassion and love, because that's our natural state. That's the natural state that we exist. And when all the other stuff gets out of our way, all of that shines through in the present moment. It's why when you
Right.
do, like in the earlier chapters, when you do box breathing or you bring yourself into the present moment by one of the tools, or you use your gratitude journal, it brings you into the present moment. And all of a sudden you feel this overwhelming lightness in your chest and everything kind of opens up. It's because you're in the true self. You're able to find the true self that is calm, that is is it's basically egoless. It's what yogis strive for their whole life, is becoming an enlightened being. But they said all it is killing the ego and taking control and putting that on the shelf. They've done tests on Sadhguru. He's one of the most famous yogis of the day. They put tests on his they test his mind, and they test the average humans. And when we have thoughts, that thing's blowing up and popping and going crazy. They'll test him for 12 hours at a time, and he don't have a thought in his head. It's
Holy
amazing.
smokes.
Yeah,
I
he
would
will.
like absolutely kill for that for like a day.
It sounds great, right? Everybody talks about a lot of things that we need to survive. Everybody needs water, everybody needs food, and everybody needs air. But
Hmm.
if you don't have any of those things, you're going to die. But there's one more thing that nobody thinks about, that if you don't get, you're going to die, and it's sleep. So if you don't
Mm.
sleep, you will die. And it's because your brain has to rest. That
Mm.
noise that's going on, it will drain your energy like nothing else. You could physically do all kinds of things all day long, but if you have a stressful day at work and stressful day at home with family and whatever, you'll be far more tired than you ever were doing physical labor,
Yeah.
on at work or something. And it's because the mind, those thoughts will just drain all of your energy and then make it miserable for you. And when we could calm that down in the middle of the day, all of a sudden we just have more energy and we can go longer. And um, being in the true self is almost effortless. It's a free
Mm.
state that we can live in.
It's really noticeable. I know for me, when I'm in my true state and I walk up to somebody and you can feel their ego. The ego becomes so easy to recognize when you know what it feels like to be in your true state, or when you're in your true self. Um, it's a jarring feeling.
Yeah. You know what? And everybody is has one. I have one, and I'm trying every day to kind of be that yogi that uh, has that mind just disappear. And I have moments of 10 minutes or 5 minutes where it disappears, and I try like hell to get it back and hold on to it, and I can't. But I'm making progress. And these moments, you know, are the most, they're some of the greatest gifts of my life in these brief moments. And then I try to get them back. And then I realize, oh, wait a minute, it's happening every moment if I will just refocus and resettle and
Mm.
calm the mind down. When you're talking about other people, it's everywhere. The more we get centered into ourselves and we are able to find that peace, we start to feel the pain and suffering in everyone around us, because when they are in ego, when people are in ego, they're suffering.
Yeah,
You can't separate the two. The ego is going to cause you suffering, and it's universal. It's in everyone. So your experience of being out in public and feeling this big ego coming at you, that dude's suffering way more than anybody. That big
yeah,
bravado that's coming at you. Deep down, he's suffering far more than anyone, and he would never even say it, but
yeah,
you could feel it, you could sense it, because the only place to find true peace is in the present moment, when the thoughts go away, because you can't think about anything in the present moment. It's just the present moment. Thoughts are always about the future or the past. And
yeah.
when we settle into that present moment, everything just gets wonderful.
That's a fact. Oh my gosh. So why do you think so many people confuse their thoughts with their identity?
Because they've just never been taught. I feel like this should be taught in the fifth grade,
So
like
frustrating.
second grade. Yeah, like nobody's taught. We're taught to be factory workers. In the
Yeah.
United States, we're taught to be factory workers. I've got a 10-year-old little boy. His name is Tucker, and he knows how to bring himself into the present moment. He knows how to manage his emotions. He's got a rare form of dyslexia, just like I do. So he's 10 years old. And he struggles to read, and so now he has to constantly take being a good reader or a bad reader off off his Christmas tree the way we talk about it, or he loses it. Like in class, he's in a special school, and uh,
What do you mean, take it off his Christmas tree? Like, so to
so
not attach to that identity?
yes, because if he identifies as a lesser or a good reader or a bad reader, now all of a sudden he's feeling attacked. And
Okay.
so uh, what he does is he simply says it out loud. He knows how to go through a process where he says, I'm not a good reader or a bad reader. I just read. I'm so much more than a reader. And all of a sudden, all that falls off of him. And the emotional reaction that he was having, the embarrassment, the shame, whatever, because he's 10 and these kids that are younger than him are reading and he can't. Um, that shame and whatever just goes away. He just gets to exist now and be a kid in the present moment without any of that noise that's getting in there. Um, and so all of these things, he, I'm able to teach this to a 10-year-old kid with a learning disability, and he's mastering it. Like my 9-year-old, I taught my other kids how to play basketball, how to box, how to play golf, whatever daddy was doing, they learned that. Well, my 10-year-old is getting the gift of learning how to manage emotions because I've created this program and we're working through it together. And it's been like the most amazing thing. This little boy has become my teacher because as he's going through this, he's showing me the power of all these things that I've learned. And yeah, we should have all been taught this. Tucker's not unique in the way that he's a 10-year-old that can learn how to manage his emotions and learn how to take care of his thoughts and learn how to make sure he's staying positive all the time and keep himself where he's drug induced happy versus drug induced sad, and be grateful for every little thing and pay attention to all those little things that we take for granted that keeps him in a place. So yeah, the reason why we don't know any of this stuff because we just were never taught. You know, ignorance is bliss. Nobody was taught to to be healthy mentally. This stuff's been known for years, and it's been mixed up with dogma of religion and this and that, and the message has been out there, but it's been cryptic, and it's hard for people to truly understand it.
Truly. Yeah, totally is. It's coming back, and your program is a testament to that. So I love it. Can you teach a unique way of creating separation through, or you teach a unique way, sorry, of creating separation through guided meditation? Can you walk us through how that works?
Yes, absolutely. So the way that I teach people to do this, and it usually takes it takes about 2 or 3 days of trying. And when I say 2 or 3 days, I mean 2 or 3 meditation sessions over a couple
Okay,
days
so
of time.
not 72 hours straight.
Now, now try it for 15 minutes. I recommend that people start meditating. Meditating is one of the most powerful things that we could do to bring us into the present moment. It opens us up to source, quiets the mind. And and even more than that, it's like if I'm out of shape, but when I was young, I used to run cross country in junior high and high school. If I tried to run a mile right now, I would die. My knees would hurt. But I know that if I wanted to go run a 26-mile marathon, I could put myself on a path to get there. It might take me 2 or 3 years of practice, and I could build up to it, and I'm physically strong enough to go run a 26-mile marathon. Um, with that being said, it would be miserable. It would take a lot of hard work to get there. But each time I would get stronger and stronger. And that's how meditation is.
Mm.
People try and they get frustrated because they're not good at it. Well, it's the same thing with working out. I can't go run. I bet I couldn't run a quarter of a mile right now with having to stop. And I would get frustrated thinking, how am I ever going to do 26 miles? But the next day, I might be able to get a little further, or maybe even less because my legs are sore. But in a week's time or a month's time, maybe I'll be able to actually run a mile. And then,
Mm.
you know, in 6 months, I can run 3 miles. And I would have to build up. That's how meditation is. It takes time. And the fact that we suck at meditation to get started is perfect for this exercise. Okay. All right. So I'm going to walk through the exercise of how to do this. I close my eyes, get into calm place, sit upright, make sure I'm awake, and I'm going to meditate I'm going to put headphones on and I'm going to find a meditation that I like. Anything on YouTube that there's literally thousands of them on YouTube. I pick one and now I'm going through this meditation. So I'm listening to the guy. He's going to slow my breathing down. He's going to get me going. And then all of a sudden, my brain's going to go squirrel. And it's going to start thinking about something else. I'm going to think about work. I'm going to think about something somebody said to me. And that moment, when we get distracted in the middle of a meditation and we realize that we were distracted, that is the secret sauce. That is the moment of 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 that we're searching for, right? So that moment when I'm meditating and I realize I was gone, or I come over here and now I'm thinking about something else, and then that moment in which I realize, wait a minute, I'm supposed to be meditating. In that moment, I'm holding on to two thoughts at the same time. Now, we don't ever have two thoughts at the same time. We might have a dialogue and then another one comes in, but it's always one at a time. In that moment, when you realize that you were supposed to be meditating and you weren't, there's two. You have two thoughts at that moment. I have this thought here that I was just thinking about the guy at work that was being a jerk to me. And now I'm thinking about the meditation I'm supposed to be listening to. In that moment, if I could just hold on to both of those for as long as I can, it'll start to get separation. And in my mind's eye, what will happen is you'll start to just see both of them because you'll still hear the meditation there and you're still you're gonna have that thought there that you didn't let go of yet. And the more you think about it and the more you hold on to it, like I got both of them, I'm not letting either one of them, I'm not giving either one of them my full attention. I'm just going to hold on to them. They get further and further and further away from you in your mind's eye. And it only takes about 2 to 5 seconds for there to become some really good distance in there. And that 2 to 5 seconds is hard to get. Like you're going to realize it and, oh man, I already missed it. I'm back to the
You're like,
meditation.
yes, I did it. And then I'm like, shit, I didn't.
Yeah, but go back to meditating. Don't worry about it. And you're going to have another squirrel moment. And when you realize you're having a squirrel moment, hold on to it again. And then about the 10th or the 20th or the 30th time, you're going to be able to hold on to that moment. And you're just going to be able to hold on to it for 3 to 5 seconds. And in that, you're going to start to feel this overwhelming calm come over you. And it's going to feel like the thoughts go away. And you're going to feel something. And it's going to feel very calm, very peaceful, very strong, very powerful. It's going to feel really cool. But it only lasts for a second. And then you can decide, okay, now it's time for me. You almost have like almost a godlike voice come over you, like, okay, now it's time to go back to my meditation. And then you just go back to your meditation. And it's coming from something different. It's not the same dialogue that you're used to of a thought. It's something different. It's something stronger. It's something more powerful that almost communicates without words. Most people have dialogue of words in their head. And in that moment, when you get that separation, because you can decide to go to the thought and say, let's just let this thought play out from a distance. If you don't give it no energy, it'll just fragment and go away, which is a pretty cool thing. Like my thought fragmented, it does. It literally fragments. It looks like it'll fall apart. Pieces of thought, but that thought will come and go, and then it'll just go away. And then, okay, because you can hear the meditation, just okay, back to the meditation, and you're focusing
Nice.
on the meditation. And then when this happens, everything changes surrounding the intensity of which your thoughts can control your life. When you get this separation, there's a permanent break between your thoughts and you. And it's just extremely powerful. It's the first major step in taking control of your thoughts and emotions.
I love that you said that, like, we have to practice. Like, there's no easy way to explain the result that you're trying to achieve with, spirituality and meditation. Like, it's like, because no one knows what it feels like to be enlightened. It's like I'm aiming for enlightenment. Well, what the hell does that mean, right? But as you continue meditating and you do it for a long, I've been doing it for a long time. So when I'm doing a meditation, I'm able to like focus on the meditation for longer periods of time. But when I first did it, I couldn't sit still for like a minute. And I'm also going to say this, I'm an experienced meditator, but I do have days where I can't sit still. So you're going to have these awesome moments of like, holy shit, I'm so deep in this meditation. Then you're going to have days where you can't get deep at all, but that's part of it. So I love
Yeah.
what you said that because it's like an up and down but everything is good. Each time you meditate, you're strengthening your brain. You're strengthening your ability to separate from your thoughts. And so we
Yeah.
must look at it just like exercise, like you said, because yeah, you're right. I would die if I tried to run 26 miles right now. Literally, I would die. But if I could probably do a mile and then tomorrow I could try and do a little bit more. But we got to work towards it.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. The thing about separating ourselves from our thoughts are unconscious. They're we're not thinking. If you try to think about your next thought, you can't even do it. It's all happening unconsciously. And when you get separation, you bring consciousness into that scenario. And
Right.
that's what is the powerful part of it. When we bring our attention into the present moment, you're bringing consciousness into the present moment. You're not acting on autopilot. We're not eating on autopilot. We're not doing things or acting on autopilot. We're getting to the true self and we're just existing and being. And in order to do that, to just sit in a chair and be happy, you have to be able to control this or it's going to run you wild. You have to get up and go do something, whatever. And you're searching for ways to, in reality, just to quiet the mind. And
Yeah.
and that's the
That's why
first
people
major.
drink and do drugs to quiet
Yeah,
this mind. Meditation
yeah,
works.
it does. And for me, this was one of the major steps in my path. I had a major transition in my ability to take control of my life the moment I realized I am not my thoughts, I'm the witness of them. And
Mm.
when I got that separation by doing this very exercise that I explained to you guys, to everyone, it it changed everything. It gave me more control. From that day forward, I have had more control over my thoughts than I ever did, before that.
So you said that you used to assume that your thoughts were your reality. So how did that belief system shape the way that you lived?
It made it pretty miserable. I would constantly, because of my my childhood core beliefs that I was stupid because of not being able to read until I was 25 years old. Everything that involved any type of intelligence in the workplace was miserable. I was constantly paranoid that I wasn't good enough. I was constantly paranoid that somebody's going to find out that I wasn't qualified to do the job. I was constantly worried, and it made me work my butt off. But at the same time, I was working my butt off out of fear because I thought somebody was coming to fire me because they found out how dumb I was. That's a
Oh,
horrible way to live. And then not feeling worthy. So any relationship I was in, I was just constantly waiting for them to wake up and realize that they didn't need to be with me. I was an idiot. It was just a,
mm.
a constant flow of thoughts that were just negative, and they weren't real. They were just old trauma, old pain from the past, which I've healed from most of those that I can identify. Any of them that I've been able to identify, I've reckoned with. But these negative thoughts, they're just not real. They're regurgitated memories from the past, and they don't serve us. Most of them don't serve us. The subconscious mind is trying to protect us with them, but we've evolved beyond them as far as human beings. We no longer need our subconscious mind to tell us that we're ugly or we're stupid because we had a horrible experience when we were 5 years old. That's not protecting us anymore. But our subconscious mind thinks that is protecting us. And that's where the dichotomy comes within us. It causes all this turmoil.
Right. So What was the turning point when you first felt the separation between your thoughts and your true self?
Um, I can almost remember the feeling that I had when I was getting separation. I felt this overwhelming calmness come over me, and from that day forward, those all of the negative thoughts, I couldn't make them stop. I didn't understand how to make them stop, but I didn't believe them anymore. They were still coming, but I was like, you're full of shit. That is not, no, that is not that. I don't even know where you're coming from. It was almost like watching them on TV. You know, it just, it just changed things. And I think the more, so I've had, uh, I don't know, 30, 40 people go through my program successfully. And each one of them that connected with this portion of the program, it was equally as life changing for them as it was for me.
Hmm.
I had a young girl that had a severely traumatized uh, childhood, and I don't want to go into too much detail because somebody can figure out who she is, but she was left with she would constantly have these thoughts that she's a dumb bitch, that she's fat, she's ugly, and she's a dumb bitch. Those were the thoughts that she would constantly relay to me that run on a reel in her head. And we sat through a session and we basically talked through here, and she got to understand, like, wait a minute, that's not me. Most people identify with the thoughts that are going through their head. They believe, like, this is coming from it. That must be who I am. I must be a dumb bitch. I must be fat. I must be ugly. And those thoughts, they identify with them because if it's coming in my head telling me that, well, that's what everybody else is thinking too. It's not
Right.
true. And so when we identify with them, it just creates all this misery and the liberation of going, oh, wait a minute, I'm not a dumb bitch. She had this whole amazing awakening that day, and she went home and went to the next morning, about 10 o'clock in the morning. She called me so excited. She's like, last night I was laying in bed and I started having the dumb bitch thoughts. And I just told myself, I am not a dumb bitch. I am amazing. And she just went on for this whole amazing rant on how awesome she was. And then, she kind of went to bed, forgot about it, and went to bed and woke up the next morning and was like, man, this is gonna suck. Today is miserable. I don't want to go to work. And because she's got a little bit of a lazy bug and she's just miserable. She well, wait a minute. This is not going to be a bad, this could be a great day. And she just started shifting her thoughts and just that fast with getting the separation and not just completely immersing yourself in these negative thoughts. Now she got separation and she was able to just that quickly. Her day was amazing that day. Like, because she changed her way that her day was going to be that morning, she had an amazing day. It wasn't miserable. She wasn't dreading anything. She wasn't dreading going to talk to this person or that person, all the stuff that she typically does, because she just started her day off with, this is going to be a great day, instead of buying into the negative thoughts that showed up there every single morning that she just went with. That's a horrible day to start your day every day, thinking this is going to be a horrible day. I'm going to suck at it, but I got to do it anyway. No,
Ugh, it's like you're
it doesn't.
waking up. It doesn't set you up for success. That's a fact.
Uh-uh. But it doesn't have to be. It's all a lie. It's all a lie. And we could take it. We could take that power back by literally just taking back the power and sitting in that witness seat, getting separation from our thoughts, and all of a sudden we can manipulate these thoughts extremely quickly.
Mm. You said you created a monitoring system for yourself. What does that look like in practice?
So a monitoring system for myself, I would think a monitoring system for myself is, so basically moving to week 3, basically what I did is I started manually writing down my thoughts. Right. If I had negative thoughts today, I would go home at night and I would write down my thoughts. Right. And I would manually go through like an exercise and reframe them with positivity. Because in real time, if somebody cuts me off in traffic and I just get mad at them, I don't have any time to practice and be, shift those thoughts. But if I go home and I just write down, this guy cut me off and I called him a jerk and blah, 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 I got really mad. well, my emotions got up. I lost the true self. I wasn't in a peaceful place. Well, by me writing down all the negative thoughts that I had in the daytime, I could manually go through five of them. I would try to write five things down at the end of every day that were negative. And then I would write below them and reframe them all with positivity. What should I have done with that thought when it came in? And so after about a week of doing that, it became an autopilot. My thoughts, when I have negative thoughts that come in, subconsciously, my brain will catch it, reframe it with positivity, and send it back. Like that's
Nice.
how, yeah. But it's just a program. Just like we learned how to walk and we learned how to talk. I programmed it to do that, and it takes a week of doing that, and then all of a sudden, the thoughts that are coming in, you don't even have to catch them. Your brain's catching them for you and going, hey, no, 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 we already went through this. That guy that cut me off, I make up a story like, hey, that guy is his kid is sick, and
Yeah.
I need him to get home safely because I want him to get home safely to his kid and his wife. And I wish them well. Please get in front of me. I'm sorry you're
Yes.
distracted in a bad day. I stay in the true self. I'm not angry. I'm calm. And now all of a sudden those thoughts aren't controlling me, the negative thoughts. Just because somebody cut me off doesn't mean I should lose my mind and go crazy.
And do
But
you
it
have
would
a way
happen.
of like, because I mean, um, I find if I don't sleep well, if I'm, I don't know, not nourished properly, I can be irritable and I can get
Yeah.
mad at that person that cuts me off. Do you have a way of like handling that later? Like a system of like, because I know like for me, I feel like, oh my God, I overreacted. Now I feel like an asshole, because I'm like, how dare you? Like in the moment, I'm so frustrated. How do you let that go later?
So, I'm kind of jumping around in the program, but week 7 is all about forgiveness, instant forgiveness. So in order for me to reframe that positive thing with that guy cutting me off, I have to instantly forgive him. I have to forgive everyone. Now, even you, like you have to forgive yourself because you got mad. You're a human. You're here. We're all flawed humans. Like you have to forgive yourself in that
Yeah.
moment. Like, yeah, I got mad. Oh, wait a minute. I'm human. I make mistakes. I love myself just as much as I love everyone else. So I'm going to go ahead and forgive myself for that and try to get myself in a place where the next time maybe that won't happen again. And so maybe you practice doing your journal and reframing it. So the next car that cuts you off, you're like, okay, I'm going to practice this time and then keep going. And if you fail the next time, do it again. You just forgive yourself
Right.
again and move on. But the instant forgiveness and this one of the people that went through my class early on, they used it for road rage. And he spoke about it in terms of instant forgiveness. I was like, that's exactly what we have to do. We have to instantly forgive everyone and everything at all times because the way I understand the universe is we're all connected. When I when I inhale the tree outside, I'm inhaling what it's exhaling. And when I exhale, that tree is inhaling what I'm exhaling. So if that tree is an extension of my lungs, it's an extension of your lungs and an extension of every other human on the planet's lungs. So at very core level, we're all connected. We're all one. We're sharing the same
Yeah.
lungs that is Mother Earth. And so I'm forgiving myself. That guy that cut me off is me. I'm
Yeah.
forgiving myself. So when you start to look at everything from a perspective of everyone is connected and we are all one, um, it makes it a whole lot easier to forgive people and kind of get to that place of forgiveness and maintain that level of peace.
So I guess my next question though is, do you believe in karma? Because I've been hearing like two different stories. So in that, we'll just use the same scenario. So I am not at my best, and I flip the guy off, it cuts me off, and he sees me do it, and I'm yelling at him, and I call him an asshole. Does that mean that something? Because I'm not able, and then I'm not able to find him to apologize. Does that mean that something's going to happen to me later, like karmically, because I lost myself and I wasn't at my best self? I've been seeing things that people are saying that, you're going to get that back at some point. What do
Yeah.
you think?
Well, so so let's use the analogy. And to me, it's a way of living. It's a knowing for me. We're all connected. So when you flip
Yeah,
that other person off, you're flipping you off.
that's true. Yeah, that's true.
So
Because
so
that's
let's
my
take it.
mood. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, because you're the one that's feeling the pain. That person has drove off, forgot that you flipped him off, but you're carrying it with you. So carry it one step further. If you're the person that you flipped off and you're carrying that
Right.
pain, who do you have to forgive?
Myself.
Yeah, it always comes back to yourself. Now, if you feel obligated to go reach out to that person, okay, you feel compelled, but it's always only you that you have to deal with. That karma is you. And unless you deal with that karma, which is that, like, so if you hold on to that anger, you hold on to that regret, you hold on to all of those negative emotions, karma is going to create that and bring that back to you again to where
Right.
the universe is going to bring more of that negative energy to you because
Right.
that's what you're embodying. That's basically my understanding of karma is what you throw out into the world, you're going to get back. Right?
Right.
That's karma. They say it in most every religion, if you give, you're going to get back tenfold. Well, you give love and compassion and money, well, you're going to get nothing but love and compassion back. And that's the karmic gift. Like if I throw out and I'm flipping everybody off on the road, I'm going to attract road rage and everybody else going to kick my butt on the road as well. So karma is, and yogis speak about this in a lot of different ways, but it's karma can be dealt with internally ourselves. And the way I understand it is forgiveness of ourselves and making a reckoning with it, but truly doing it. You can't half-ass it. You literally have to look it in the eye, look yourself in the eye, face it, forgive yourself, forgive them, forgive any aspect of whatever situation was, and that will make it right. And if that's not enough, if you can get yourself in a calm enough place, you'll know the universe will tell you, okay, you need to reach out to them, you need to do this, you need to talk to somebody. But 95% of the time, in my experience, it's just you.
Right. I remember a time when I was in my 20s and someone like had really bad road rage on the highway. And I cut him off, but I just was driving bad and he like tormented me on the highway and I remember being terrified. So I think my thought process is what if I really scared that person or made them feel a certain way? Because I know that situation tormented me and I was traumatized for a little bit and I was scared of like, I'm like, holy crap, I'm never doing that again. And made me a better driver, I guess, but it was terrifying. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, the action item you took out of that was to be more alert on the road.
yeah,
But you still have to forgive yourself for that to go away. Otherwise, that mistake you made is your karma. And until you forgive yourself for cutting them off and making a mistake,
yeah.
but it has to
So he
be,
was my lesson. That was a lesson.
yeah. It was to wake you up and be more considerate of everybody else. Whatever problems you had going on in the world that made you distracted,
Yeah.
also disrespect the person in the present moment that you were driving around, and it scared them. Yeah, there's always a lesson that is coming out of these things.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So do you believe that this process is something that everybody can learn, or do you think you need to be an experienced meditator?
No, I honestly think that the if the less experienced meditators are gonna they're gonna have more opportunities for that squirrel moment to identify it. If I'm really good and I can stay calm and I meditate for 30 minutes, I'm only gonna have 5 or 10 of those moments and I might miss it. But if I suck at it and I and I get distracted 5 times in a minute, well, every 20 seconds, I got an opportunity to hold on to my thoughts and that meditation and get separation. And that's
Mm,
that's the
magic.
powerful part. like you don't have to be good at meditation. It actually helps in this process of getting separation between you and your thoughts.
Okay, beautiful. So if someone listening wants to try this for the first time, what is the first step that they can take right now?
To just go to a quiet place and put in the effort. Go into a quiet place, put some headphones on where you're not going to be disturbed. Sit down with the intention of getting separation between you and your thoughts. Because a lot of people that struggle with it, they get lost in a meditation because the meditation is so cool, and they get lost in it, and then they get distracted. Oh, I got to get back to this because it's so cool. Well, wait a minute. That was not my intention. The intention here
Mm,
is to get separation between you and your thoughts. So before you start your meditation, your the job here is not to meditate. The job here is not to do anything other than get separation between you and your thoughts. So yes, you're going to meditate, but you just have to have that ultra focus on that moment. You're searching for that moment to get separation between you and your thoughts, and hold on to it as long as you can. It only takes 3, 4, 5 seconds, and you're going to have an experience in your mind where you get separation. And then from that point on, you've done something to yourself. You've shown yourself something that can't be unlearned. It's like the Wizard of Oz. You see behind the curtain, you can't unsee that there's some little dude that's not scary. He's just talking into a megaphone. It's not scary anymore. It's the same thing with your thoughts. Once you know that those are not yours and you can get separation from them, the way you process your thoughts is never going to be the same again.
wow. So what changes did you notice and what does life look like as you start doing this more?
It just, the involuntary emotions, the negative stuff that kind of triggers us in life, it all just comes on down. It just, because when thoughts trigger emotions, right? So that's typically how all of us work. Like we have these thoughts that get us worked up, and those thoughts will work us up into an emotion. But when those negative thoughts start coming, as that emotion starts to rise and you have separation from it, that emotion's not going to come up and elevate itself. It's going to stay a little bit calmer. It's going to give us emotional intelligence because we're going to be able to see it. Because when we get emotional, pretty much all of us get kind of dumb. It's just the more emotional we are, the more irrational we are.
Totally.
Forbes has articles on end about this. The top 10 people in the top 10 companies on Forbes top 10 list are they rank emotional intelligence 10 times greater than your IQ. And the reason why is because it doesn't matter how smart you are if you can't handle high pressure situations. You get in a
True.
high pressure situation, you become dumb. You're not as valuable to the team and your business and as an employee.
Wow, I
And
never
so,
looked at it that way. That's a really great way of illustrating that.
yeah, and that's what I think this will give you instantly. It'll give you it'll help you regulate those emotions just immediately, just from having that separation. When those thoughts don't carry weight anymore, like it did with that young patient that I had, immediately she was able to disconnect with it. She was able to have a better day. She was able to go to sleep better, not with those negative thoughts. It allows us to just take the negative thoughts that we all have, and it calms them all down and takes the meaning away from them a little bit. And life just gets instantly better when we sit in the witness seat.
Yeah, agreed. So tell us where we can find out more information about your program.
LearnToLoveBeingYou.com. It's a website that's still in the process of getting better. I'm working to improve it, but everything's up live. You can have access to all of this. I want to reiterate, the program is $500, but if you cannot afford it, email me at mike@learntolovebeingyou.com, and we will figure out a way to get you access to all of this.
Amazing. So do you have any last minute messages about our topic today? Perhaps someone who feels really trapped right now by their own negative thoughts. What would you say to that person?
They're those negative thoughts are just not real. It's not you. They're all it's lying to you. It's old negative core beliefs. You are a beautiful human, and these thoughts are here trying to tell you to wake up and and learn the lessons that your body is trying to teach you. You have outgrown your old core beliefs, and it's time for you to grow and move on. And there's lots of ways to do that.
Amazing. Thank you so much for being here today and for sharing all your wisdom on our thought process.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me. This is fun.
Yeah, I look forward to chapter 4.
Yeah, me too.
And to our audience, you are not your thoughts. Meditate, try it. Do 5 minutes. Start with 2 minutes. I don't care. Do 1 minute. Just start. Because Mike's right. Once you keep practicing, you're able to look at your thoughts in a different way and to understand you're not your thoughts. Just like when you break your arm, you're not your broken arm. Your arm's just broken. So let's learn how to detach from our brains and understand our true essence. Cheers, everyone. Have a beautiful day.